Good evening. The Conejo Valley Unified School District Board of Education regular board meeting of March 4th, 2026 will please come to order. Pursuant to the Ralph M. Brown Act, this is a meeting of the Board of Education in public, and only items on the agenda will be discussed this evening. We invite you to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. The board is adjourning from closed session with the following items permitted by law was considered. 1B, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2. There is no readout provided for this item. 1C, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, case OAH 20250700714. Trustee Goldberg made the motion to approve the settlement agreement for this case, seconded by Trustee Powell. Motion carried 5-0. 1D, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, case OAH 20250-80255. Trustee Gill made the motion to approve the settlement agreement for this case, seconded by Trustee Gorbach. Motion carried 5-0. 1E, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1, case OAH 2025090-409. Trustee Gorbach made the motion to approve the settlement agreement for this case, seconded by Trustee Powell. Motion carried 5-0. I would like to welcome everyone to this meeting and make the following announcements. The board values your input on the important education matters we face. Therefore, the district is providing multiple opportunities for public participation. Public viewing is available through internet live stream on the CVUSD website. Please note the different opportunities to provide public or written comments to the board can be found on the main page of the board agenda. Members of the public wishing to submit a written comment have the option to email their comments to sfelman@conejousd.org by 3 p.m. today. Board members were provided with these written comments prior to the meeting. Persons wishing to address the board in person should fill out a blue speaker's card and hand it to Mrs. Fellman at the secretary's desk. If you wish to speak on a specific agenda item, please turn in your card prior to that item section of the agenda. If the school district business you wish to speak about is not on tonight's agenda, please turn in your card before the public comment section of the agenda. If you intend to donate time to another speaker, please hand in both speaker cards at the same time to Mrs. Fellman. If you wish to register your concern but not speak at the podium, please fill out a yellow public statement form and turn it in at the secretary's desk. Board members will be provided with these statements after the board meeting. Please be advised that a recording of this meeting is being made and broadcast for our live stream audience, and the recording and broadcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. Smoking is not permitted in this building or anywhere on district property. Copies of the agenda are available on the table in the board lobby. Please silence all mobile phones. All right, I need a motion to approve the agenda. Trustee Powell.
President Sylvester, I move that we approve the agenda as submitted with item 4F pulled.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this? All right, seeing none, please vote. Trustee Kearns?
Yes.
Trustee Powell?
Yes.
Trustee Gorbach?
Yes.
Trustee Gill?
Yes.
Trustee Goldberg?
Yes.
I am a yes. Motion carries 5-0 with a preferential yes vote from Trustee Kearns. All right, we are now at item 2E, which are student recognitions. So we've got a middle school group and high school group, and I'm going to actually turn this on to Mr. Frank. Turn this over.
Let me just grab some students here. Do I have Kalina? I need students. Mr. Frank. That's right. Good evening, Board President Sylvester, Dr. McLaughlin, distinguished board, and district leadership. Shane Frank, Director of Middle School Education. Tonight, we are honoring and recognizing the musical prowess of many of our CVUSD students, ranging from regional excellence with the Southern California Band and Orchestra Association, all the way to the elite all-state status as recognized by the California Band Directors Association, the California Orchestra Directors Association, and the Southern California Vocals Association. So these students that we'll be recognizing tonight in both middle school and high school really do range in the top fraction of 1% of all students in the state. So as you can imagine, hundreds of hours practicing, support from parents, probably neighbors, all great things to make these kids get to where they got to. But none of this is possible without the support and encouragement of their teachers, their coaches, and their mentors. So I'd also make sure we recognize our teachers for helping get our students to this level. So tonight we will be starting off with Colina Middle School, and we'll recognize our 2026 All-State Band and Choir recipients. So here we go. First one up is Colina Middle School, Miss Davis.
All right, thank you. Our student Liam Saul, it was for the second year in a row, the all-state jazz drummer for the junior high section. So the only one in the state recognized for his awesome drum set abilities.
No, well, just one at a time. Yep. All right, from Sycamore Canyon. Go ahead. All right, from Sycamore Canyon, Mr. Daniel Palomino.
All right. My name is Daniel Palomino, and I teach at Sycamore Canyon, and I'm here with the pleasure of recognizing our lovely students that have been working for many years for some of them, and it's been a pleasure working with them. And so our first student that I would like to recognize is Andrew Wang for his participation in the All-State Junior High School Honor Symphonic Band. And our next student, who is not here because she made it into Ventura County Honor Orchestra, and she also participated in the SCSBOA All Southern California Middle School Honor Orchestra, and that would be Yuna Kim. And also not here is Katie Murray, who participated in the All States Junior High School Honor Concert Band. And our last student is Audie Rathor for his participation in the SCSBOA All Southern California Middle School Honor Jazz Band.
Please go grab a picture with him. Okay. right, next we have Redwood Middle School and Mr. Adam Payne.
Hello, my name is Adam Payne. I'm the band director at Redwood Middle School. I would like to introduce you to Irene Shin. Irene is here. Yes, Irene Shin. Irene made the All-State Honor Band and the All-Southern Honor Band. She also made the Ventura County Honor Band. She's an incredible clarinet player.
And last but not least, from Los Cerritos Middle School, Mr. Freed and Miss Brandy LaRue, principal.
Thank you all for being here, for the parents who are coming to see this presentation, and for the board members. Recognize these students for some outstanding work and achievements. These students have been selected among the best in all of the entire state of California and all of Southern California as super hardworking. And some of these students were literally beginners last year and have just worked hard to not only go from our beginning groups up through intermediate, advanced, and all the way to the top level of the state in one school year. So it's a pretty amazing accomplishment. I'm going to go ahead and call their names. And some of these students have been in multiple different honor groups. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Andres Aguirre was in the All-State Junior High School Honor Band on the All-Southern California Middle School Honor Orchestra. Mason Cano was in the All-State Junior High School Honor Band and the All-Southern California Middle School Honor Band as well. Arsh Chandani was also in the All-State Junior High School Honor Band and the All-Southern California Middle School Honor Band. Evan Chen was selected to the All-State Junior High School Honor Band. Cole Higa was in the All-Southern California Middle School Honor Band. One of our students was not able to attend today because he's actually performing and rehearsing tonight with the Ventura County Honor Orchestra, but Mark Canchibotla was selected to the All-Southern California Middle School Honor Orchestra. He's not here tonight. Gianluca Perry was selected to the All-State Junior High School Honor Band and the All-Southern California Middle School Honor Band. Divya Sanjan was selected for the All-Southern California Middle School Honor Band. And last but certainly not least, Ryan Tran was selected to the All-State Junior High School Honor Band.
Good evening, everyone. We are, along with our orchestra teacher, Mrs. Wong, we are excited to be here tonight to kick off the high school recognition portion of the event. So it's my pleasure to introduce the following students. First, Sua Bay, All Southern California Symphony Orchestra. Evelyn Bauman, All Southern California Wind Ensemble. Travis Chow, All Southern California Wind Ensemble and All State Symphony Orchestra. Nathan Lee, All State Honor String Orchestra. Ryan Lynn, All Southern California Jazz Ambassadors. And last, Raymond Tan, All-State Concert Band.
Hello, my name is Michael Godfrey. I'm here on behalf of TO. I'm with James Rumenap, our esteemed band director, here also to continue the cavalcade of young, talented men and women. And so I'll start off with Ari Artevin. He was SC SBOA, All Southern California Symphonic Band. Yeah, just keep walking, dude. Next, we have Grant Holmquist, who was CBDA All-State Wind Symphony and SC SBOA All Southern California Symphony Orchestra. Next, we have Rohan Kensel, CBDA All-State Wind Symphony and SC SBOA All Southern California Symphonic Band. Not here with us tonight, Raya Liu, Southern California Vocal Association Regional Honor Choir and California All-State Honor Choir. Also unable to join us is Kale Matsuda, who is SC SBOA All Southern California Symphonic Band. Next, we have Everett Salzberg, SC SBOA All Southern California Symphonic Band. And not here with us is Lotus Ward, who is also Southern California Vocal Association Regional Honor Choir. And save the best for last, Jimmy Shields, SC SBOA All Southern California Wind Ensemble. Great job. Mr. Rumenap wants to know if you want him to walk up. Yep, you get a walk up too.
Good evening, Board President Sylvester, Dr. McLaughlin, board members, executive cabinet, and guests. Really excited and proud to be here this evening to honor our Westlake High School Warriors for earning some amazing accomplishments in the area of band and our performing arts. I'd also like to introduce and thank Mr. Ken Carlin for all of his efforts and work to help these students achieve such remarkable feats in their career. So thank you, Mr. Carlin. Appreciate it. Few students that we're going to have here tonight. The first student is not here with us. He is actually an outdoor school counselor this week. So Christopher Lee was recognized as All-State Band and Symphonic Band, as well as All Southern California Band and Wind Ensemble. So congratulations to Christopher. We would like to recognize Rick Liu. Rick was All-State Band Symphonic Band, as well as All Southern California Band Symphonic Band. Congratulations, Rick. Next up, we would like to recognize Grady Wang. Grady was All-State Band and Concert Band. Congratulations, Grady. This evening, Quinn White could not be with us. Quinn is doing some rehearsals and auditions, so could not be here tonight. But Quinn earned All-State Band, Concert Band, as well as All Southern California Band and Symphonic Band. So congratulations to Quinn. And then finally, we would like to recognize Victoria Zong. Victoria earned All Southern California Band Symphonic Band recognition. Congratulations, Victoria. You want to go up there and be in the picture? I'll be in the picture, yeah. You want to go sit down? Yeah, go sit down. It'll be fun. Go. Thank you guys for having us. Ken, you got to go. You're being directed.
All right, we are now on item 2F, and we have a report from one of our parent organizations, our District English Language Advisory Committee, also known as DLAC. So please welcome the DLAC chairperson, Lucely Duarte.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Malafi, and the cabinet. My name is Lucely Duarte. This is my first year of the second term as the president of the District English Learning Advisory Committee, also as DLAC. I first want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share a brief report about DLAC. We sincerely appreciate your attendance at every DLAC meeting and your active listening participation. Your continued presence and community for support our students and families make a meaningful difference in achieving our shared goals. I'm very proud of all the work DLAC is doing this year. I would like to share that we receive information on many topics that have been of interest to all our DLAC representatives. We also ensure that we present information on topics that are required by the state of California. The following topics have been presented this school year: first, attendance, DLAC annual training, expanded learning opportunities programs, elementary school reporting, immigration, Canvas for parents, dual language immersion program, newcomer academy, ticket registration, Moore Park College. Parents appreciate this knowledge as all It allows them to make informed decisions about their child's education. The information presented in DLAC is then shared with every school site through the English Land Advisor community, also known as ELAC. I also attended at district advisor community meetings and continue to find new opportunities to stay engaged and involved. To end, I would like to share information about our meeting times. Our DLAC meetings are held on the last Tuesday of every month. We meet at the University Center from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Everybody is welcome to attend regardless if the student is an English learner. Thank you for your time and for your support. Good night. Thank you.
And thank you for coming here tonight, as well as for all of your leadership at the DLAC meetings. So we are now at item 2G, which is public comments. So I'm going to read the following statement. The CVUSD Board of Education wants to hear from students, parents, employees, and our community. All individuals have the right to provide public comments during our school board meetings under Government Code 54954.3. Comments regarding specific items listed on tonight's agenda must be made when that agenda item is called. If you wish to speak on a topic that is not on tonight's agenda, now is the time to provide your public comment. If you have not already done so and wish to speak, please hand in your blue card to Mrs. Fellman. Please note that if you have any materials to hand to board members, please provide those materials to Mrs. Fellman for distribution to the board. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the board cannot undertake any action or discussion on items not on tonight's agenda. However, members of the board or its staff may briefly reply to comments or questions posed by the public. Usually, we will wait until the end of the public comment period before responding. As our meetings are held in public, your comments will be heard by those who are attending or watching a broadcast. In addition, the board encourages students to participate in civic affairs. Therefore, we hope that students are watching this meeting or in tonight's audience. Please be mindful of that, and please make your comments factual and offer them in a respectful manner. In compliance with all applicable state and federal laws, the governing board strives to respect the privacy rights of students and employees during our meetings. This includes the right for the identities of students to remain confidential. We also ask that speakers be sensitive to our employees' legal rights to privacy and confidentiality. So again, as a reminder, those requesting to speak at this time will speak on items that are not on the board agenda. And please note that no speaker cards will be accepted once the board starts the public comments agenda item with the first speaker. Ms. Fellman. So we have three public comment cards. So each speaker will get 3 minutes, and I will tell you who's in what order. Starting with Oren Noraki, followed by Whitney Miller, followed by Nessun Bus.
Hi, my name is Oren Naraki, and I'm a 6th grader at Sequoia Middle School and a graduate of Earth's Magnet School. 1 year ago today, I met Congresswoman Brownlee in her office on Capitol Hill to talk about my life with Tourette syndrome. I'm an advocate, but today I'm not just advocating for myself. I'm advocating for every student in CVUSD who uses the wellness centers. Myself, have used the wellness centers continuously and have been part of the 2025 IOP program at UCLA. I struggled with ideation and issues with my OCD, ADHD, and my other disorders, but I would never have been able to express my needs without the wellness centers being there. The counselors at Earth's Magnet School helped bring me out to, per se, show what has been bothering me and what had been affecting my life, because during this time I had been struggling very hard with my emotions, with my OCD, with my anxiety, and just with the general issues. And without the wellness centers, I would have never had the courage to come forward and actually talk to someone about it, which did end up, I believe, saving my life from dying. Because throughout everything, I have countless friends who've experienced very similar things. I have friends in seventh and eighth grade at Sequoia Middle School who have used wellness centers as a means to communicate their needs and priorities. Because as a student around here, I noticed that with the within the counselors' offices, people and students especially feel the urge and feel the uncomfortable urge to have to say everything they need to say there and feel, well, compelled to say all of it, which makes people want to come out of their shell less and say what's bothering them a lot less. But the wellness centers slowly help adapt to you and slowly help bring you out of your shell using arts and crafts, fun communities, just challenges, and taking your issues head on without having the fact that you have to openly express it to someone. Because of all this, I know countless people whose lives have been saved because of this. And I know countless people personally that have thanked me for telling them about the resources in the wellness centers. And I respect the lack of funding for them, which for the rest of the school district, I understand there are many things that still need funding, but I implore you, because the wellness centers are very, very helpful and they could save a lot of people's lives.
Thank you, Oren. Thank you for coming and speaking. Whitney Miller.
I'm sorry. Okay, you did a very good job. I'm so impressed with you. Okay, hello. My name is Whitney Miller. I am a teacher in the district. And I'm coming to just speak on behalf of mostly myself. I won't speak for anybody else. But I know in some recent meetings there's been discussion of eliminating TOSA positions. And I know that the last board meeting there was a vote to reduce positions and eliminate some positions. And I know most of you on the board and most of you around, and I know that those decisions were very difficult. So I just wanted to shed light on the position that was reduced, our TK TOSA position. I'm a TK teacher this year in the district. I'm new to the position. I'm not new to teaching. But being new to the position gave some challenges that our TK TOSA really came in and helped me with. She helped me organize my classroom. She was there to answer all of my text messages and my phone calls, and she came to my classroom regularly to help support me in times of need. And while we have our principals my principal has been truly amazing, our TK TOSA has really been there to help hold a lot of our hands through some challenging times. And I just wanted to give her a big hug publicly just to thank her for all of her hard work. And I know that that decision to reduce her position was difficult, but I wanted her to know that all of her hard work really mattered. So, and any school that gets her is very lucky. She's very skilled in what she does. And so yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Nelson Buss.
Hello, Chair Sylvester, Dr. McLaughlin, Board, Nelson Buss, 37-year resident of Thousand Oaks. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that at these meetings. I just wanted to bring up an issue that's kind of been eating at me for the last couple months. My youngest daughter went to the Reagan Library on a field trip, and Reagan Library is awesome. I tend to bring people from out of town there. I do enjoy it. But part of her experience on that field trip is a simulation of a real-world event that occurred back in 1983. That event happens to be Operation Urgent Fury, which was the U.S. invasion of Grenada. Ironically, I was the same age as my daughter when my father was in the 82nd Airborne, and I lived at Fort Bragg when Operation Urgent Fury happened, so I have a very concrete memory of that event. But in it, before my daughter went to the field trip, she brought home a booklet, and that booklet illustrates the reasoning behind why this event happened and lays out in very specific and in what I consider antiquated Cold War terms what the stakes were. It is spelled out that it was to save college students and to protect the world from the domino theory of communism. And I believe that invasion is much more complicated. I believe any time military is used, it's a much more complicated issue. And I was motivated to come here to talk to you because in the last 2 weeks, the United States has invaded 3 sovereign nations and bombed them, much like they did in 1983 in Grenada. And they're strongly contemplating put boots on the ground, and they've already put them on 2 nations and thinking about doing it on a 3rd. In this simulator, 10-year-olds are being asked, would you invade a nation? And asked to role play that out. And the question is literally an A-B answer for 10-year-olds. And I don't think that that's necessarily part of the 5th grade curriculum. I had a teacher helpfully spell it out for me what the California standards are for 5th graders, and it is U.S. development prior to 1850. So these are not things that they're talking about. So I would like, I did raise this issue with our principal and found out that the booklet has a stamp on the back that says it's CVUSD approved. So I don't know how many of you are aware. I know this has been going on for at least 16 years, this simulator, because I did find a Wall Street Journal article I wanted to read you real quick before I run out of time here. But in the Wall Street Journal article, they say, oh, where is it?
Sorry. If you do find it, you can.
I'll say it real quick.
I can't bend the rules. I'm sorry. You can email it to Ms. Feldman, and she'll distribute it to the board, or send it to us. That would be great. Now you got me interested, so please do. Thank you.
We'll also have our instructional department take a look at the materials that are being offered, and if it is stamped by us, when was the last time it was approved by anyone within our instructional service department and or reviewed by our Board of Education as well, to see if there needs to be some adjustments made to the approval of that.
All right. We are now on item 3A. We're in action items, which is our 25-26 second interim financial statements. So first, I do need a motion. Somebody move.
President Sylvester.
Trustee Powell.
I move that we approve the submission of the 2025-26 second interim financial statements as submitted.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and thirded. We will have a presentation now by Dr. Hayek.
Okay, thank you, Board. It's that time of year where we're reporting our second interim financial reports. This is the district's financial activities through January 31st, 2026, going back to July 1, 2025. We are in the cycle where we just received the governor's January proposed budget. We use that information to put together the second interim along with the multi-year projection and present to you tonight. There's a lot of news going back and forth between the governor and legislature and the lobbying firms that follow the governor's proposed budget from January to June. I'm not going to go through all this, but I'll just highlight a few things. As usual, it's a mixed bag. There's some good and some not so good. The proposed budget by the governor generally avoids both cuts and expansions. There is a 2.41% COLA, and there is a discussion of a discretionary block grant, which is about $500 per student. For us, it's about $7 million of one-time funds that it adds up to. There's also a proposal to continue to fully fund universal meals, breakfast and lunch for all students at all schools. There is significant revenue growth beyond expectations in tax collections for the state. It's believed that the associated surge in revenues is not sustainable over time, and excessive spending by the state could make the budget vulnerable to unanticipated downturn or market collapse. It appears that the current year is looking less shaky, with most of the uncertainty appearing to be next year and beyond. So the Legislative Analyst's Office takes a look at the governor's proposed budget and then goes through and makes their own assumptions and review of the proposals, along with the current economic conditions. They note here the stock market poses some serious risk to revenues for the state. The governor's proposed budget has optimistic revenue forecasts and only balances the budget in the near term and not in the out years. The state is still expected to face multi-year deficits, and the governor and administration have acknowledged the downside risks to the state's revenue picture and the multi-year challenges, but the proposal doesn't include material actions to address either challenge. So in a nutshell, it's, again, a mixed bag, some good, some bad. We seem to be okay going into next year. We don't expect substantial changes. We do expect that one-time money to come in, although we just heard probably within the last week or so that originally the proposal was for it to be completely discretionary, but there's some discussion about making it restricted for particular purposes. So it's something we'll have to continue to monitor, and we won't know for sure until June.
Dr. Hike, on that discretionary block grant, you mentioned it, we anticipated, how much was it?
Around $7 million.
But we did have discretionary one-time dollars coming again this year, so we do have money coming off one-time dollars for this year, and then the $7 million coming back on, right? So it's not $7 million on top of like our current budget, is that correct?
Correct. If you look at it year over year, it's about $2 million, $2.5 million. So where we sit as of January 31st, here's our revenues broken out by unrestricted and restricted. There's very little change from first interim. We're still sitting at about $243 million in revenue. On the expense side, combined, about $261 million in expenses. Certificated salaries by far taking up the bulk of our expenses. When you put all this together, this is our projected ending fund balance, restricted and unrestricted. When you go right to the bottom, you see we have $22.4 million in estimated fund balance remaining at the end of the year projected. Of that 22 million, 10.9, roughly $11 million of it is restricted. So we have to really look at funds available. You look in the second column under restricted at the bottom, it's about $11.5 million. So we begin the year with 24 million in unrestricted, revenues about 171, expenses about 184 million, and our estimated ending balance is about 11 million, and then that gets broken down below. So when we put together the multi-year, these are the factors that we assume. Much of this is based on future economics as well as our enrollment projections. You see the cost of living adjustment for 26-27 at 2.41%, and then 27-28, it's just sitting at just over 3%. Our enrollment projections are noted below, including our ADA, our actual ADA, and then our rolling 3-year average. So we are funded on the rolling 3-year average, so every year, because we're in a state of declining enrollment, the lowest year falls off, so it minimizes the impact of declining enrollment over a period of years, which positively impacts our LCFF allocation. And under the funded difference, which is the funded ADA less actual ADA, you see we're, for 25-26, we're essentially getting funded for 422 more students' average daily attendance than what our actual ADA is. Our unduplicated pupil percentage pretty much stays the same year over year, fluctuates very little. And the pension employer contribution rates, again, have been pretty steady for the last 5 or 6 years, which is a good thing. This multi-year projection does include negotiated salary adjustments of a 1% on and 1% off for UACs, EVPPA, management, non-represented. We just recently settled again with the Classified School Employees Association, or CSEA, agreement for similar percentage on and off for 25-26. In addition, a small 0.5% ongoing raise going back to 24-25. So we've settled negotiations for 25-26, which helps us and gives us a clearer picture when we're looking in the out years. You look at the 25-26 second interim, that's where we are. That's if you look down toward the bottom, we're about 10.9 million. Those are the restricted funds, and then what leaves us essentially about 292,000 undesignated funds. And then in the out years, based on those factors, we're looking at, you see by 27-28, the budget cuts and adjustments we've been making for last year, this year, and then estimated for next year should get us relatively close to a balanced budget. 239 million in revenue expected, 241 million expected on the expense side. In the end, when you break down the ending balance, we'll be able to maintain our fiscal stabilization reserve of 3 million, our required 3% reserve, 7.2 million, which gives us about 6.4 million in undesignated funds. Now, there is an asterisk there, and you see on the bottom, it says includes the 7 million of one-time funds in 26-27. That is very helpful, obviously. In year 3, we take those funds out, we'd end up to be in the negative. Obviously, we'd make some adjustments so we're not in a negative, but this is the impact of having one-time funds that come and go each year on our fund balance. And these are the other funds that we maintain. This is a look, again, as of January 31st. We're sitting in a positive light for all the enterprise funds that we operate, and you see our bond fund here, and health and welfare continues to perform well for us. We are slated to get our renewal numbers for health and welfare, which is roughly $30 million of our annual budget in the next 60 days, which will impact when we come back for adopted in June, what our renewal looks like. So we will submit for a positive certification to the Ventura County Office of Education, as we've always done for as long as at least I've been here. And then what's next? We await the governor's May revise, so we'll see what adjustments happen between January and May. A lot of conversation going back and forth. And then we'll use that to prepare our adopted budget, and we'll bring that adopted budget at the first meeting in June, and then for presentation, information, and then we'll bring it for approval at the second June meeting. Any questions?
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? Okay, I have one. I just want to understand more about the $7 million. Is there a risk we won't get the $7 million, or is the risk whether or not it's going to be completely discretionary or maybe a little more restricted?
The only conversations I've heard going back and forth was about restricting some or all of those dollars. I haven't heard anything about repurposing those funds.
Okay. And the UACT and CVVP negotiations are reflected in this. The CSEA is not yet, I'm assuming.
They are. They all are.
Oh, it is everything?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, it does paint a much more positive picture than I've seen. I mean, we still have a deficit, but we've narrowed the gap, I think, with some of the decisions that we've made. At some point, perhaps we need to have a conversation about how do we get out of having a structural deficit at all. But for now, I will say, kudos to all the work that's gone into improving that financial picture. Questions, comments? Trustee Powell.
So I know with some of the decisions that have been made, like for last year and next year and then the new year after that, you mentioned that we'll be close to a balanced budget by 27-28, we think at this point. We don't really know. I mean.
Well, that's what we're aiming for.
Right.
Again, there's going to a lot happen in the next 2 years. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen between now and June. So it does depend. I mean, you see the COLA projections for the 2 out years. It doesn't include now it'll be the 4th year. When we come back in June, it'll be the 3rd year out. So we're essentially now looking at the remainder of this year plus 2. When we come back in June, we'll be looking at next year plus 2. So it's essentially 4 years out from where we are now. So, we know the ups and downs of school funding. We get one time, and sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We've been fortunate to get it last year and then this year. But I think the headwinds here that create more uncertainties, there's going to be a new governor. And I think a large portion of the legislature has been terming out. So there's going to be a turnover. So there's conversations about who's going to be part of the education committee. There was some news recently about taking some authority away from the state superintendent of schools. So there's some things going on that are outside of our control that could impact our funding, but we'll continue to move forward. I think we've done as unpleasant as it is, it's positive for the district to go through these adjustments, having to do a substantial portion of it through attrition, and we'll continue to do that. I think our strategy moving forward is to continue to evaluate every position that comes up and determine how best to proceed, whether we're going to fill it or not, or adjust schedule, calendar, whatever it is, in order to move forward so we can maintain financial sustainability.
I do think part of our conversation, and probably when we have our goals meeting at some point this year, is maybe knowing a little bit more information about the budget, as well as how hard do we want to go at that being a balanced budget next year, or do we want to look at what we know was that projected dollar amount to get to that balanced budget and spread that out again over a couple more years, just based on attrition and retirements and resignations, versus hitting it head on and trying to get down to that dollar amount. So I think that's a further conversation with us and the board as well.
And I think of the things that I mentioned, probably the single most important factor is, and the legislative analyst office touches upon it, is, when the revenue collections are above what the projections are, we're supposed to get roughly 41% of it. It's supposed to go to K-12, and we don't. So there's some massaging of the numbers or pulling levers here and there. That's how we end up with the one-time monies. If there is a different political view on how school funding is handled, and then that $7 million, for example, goes into the LCFF, then it becomes an ongoing and compounding dollar amount that would significantly change the financial picture. So those are funds that, by LCFF standards, Prop 98, we'd be entitled to. So if that philosophy changes and we shift away from one-time funds and go more to ongoing, that lends positive for us. But then the flip side of that is, yes, we still get 41%, but if the state collects less money, then we'll get less money at the same time. So, but for us, these ongoing dollars are what's critically important, because our expenses continue to rise and will continue to rise. Even as we're making cuts and adjustments, we're still going to have rise in expenditures. And at the same time, we have to be in a position where we're offering competitive salaries for staff and cost of living adjustments to really for our employees, because we are a people business.
Well, CSBA's legislative week this year is focused on Prop 98 funding, so we'll be working on it as best we can. I just wanted to say thank you to you and your staff, and specifically also to Fiscal Director Jamie Ledesma, who's here tonight. So thank you for putting this all together.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none. Before we vote, I just want to say, and I've said it in previous meetings, I appreciate the conservative approach and the prudent approach that we have taken, especially when you look at some of the financial straits that some of our neighboring school districts, as well as school districts statewide, have encountered. So I do appreciate all the hard work as well. With that, we need to vote. Trustee Kearns.
Yes.
Trustee Gorbach.
Yes.
Trustee Gill.
Yes.
Trustee Goldberg.
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
I am a yes. Motion carries 5-0 with a preferential yes vote from Trustee Kearns. Moving on to item 3B, adoption of an annual resolution in support of National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month and Disability History Month. So first I need a motion. Trustee Goldberg.
I move that we adopt Annual Resolution 25/26-25 in support of National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month and Disability History Month as submitted.
Okay,
Second.
okay, it has been moved and seconded. Mr. Liu, do you have any comments?
Yes, this is an amended resolution. So the original resolution was brought forward and approved by the Board of Education at our last Board of Education meeting. However, we've amended the resolution to clearly add to the title of such resolution that we're recognizing in March also Disability History Month, which we have in the past. And also we've amended it to provide additional information about National Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, which, as the resolution states, reminds us that individuals with developmental disabilities are valuable members of our community and deserve full participation in all aspects of life, including education, employment, recreation, and civic engagement.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, I appreciate the amendment to that. Let us vote. Trustee Kearns.
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Trustee Gill.
Yes.
Trustee Goldberg.
Yes.
Trustee Gorbach.
Yes.
I am a yes. Motion carries 5-0 with a preferential yes vote from Trustee Kearns. All right, we are moving on to the consent agenda, and we did pull one item. So I do need a motion for this. This is item F.
I move that we adopt this updated policy, board policy 5141.5 with one very small edit on page 2.
Okay, it's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Discussion, please.
I pulled this because it was brought to my attention that on page 2, we used the word neurodiverse when we probably should have used the word neurodivergent. It's in that under information and training. Neurodiverse, of course, refers to the full span of all of our students, neurodivergent and neurotypical. But we, I think, here mean to call out neurodivergent students. So I just wanted to suggest that edit.
Okay, any comments to that? Okay, I need consensus. Seeing all heads nodding, so we can make that adjustment and then vote on this resolution as amended. Right, any other comments? All right, we're gonna vote. Trustee Kearns.
Yes.
Trustee Gill.
Yes.
Trustee Goldberg.
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
Trustee Gorbach.
Yes.
I am a yes. Motion carries 5-0 with a preferential yes vote from Trustee Kearns. Now I need a motion on the remainder of the consent agenda. Trustee Goldberg.
I move the remainder of the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, please vote. Trustee Kearns.
Yes.
Trustee Goldberg.
Yes.
Trustee Gill.
Yes.
Trustee Gorbach.
Yes.
Trustee Powell.
Yes.
I am a yes. Motion carries 5-0 with a preferential yes vote from Trustee Kearns. All right, we are now on section 5, item 5A, which is ratification of the Redwood Middle School proposed bell schedule. So I understand Christy Keener, Redwood principal, is going to present.
All right. Hi, guys. Happy Wednesday. I am so excited to be here. Christy Keener, Redwood principal, and I am here to talk to you tonight all about exciting changes that have been a long time coming at Redwood. We, of course, had a fabulous schedule that was left to us by the wonderful and amazing former principal, Nicole Judd. So we are not making any huge changes to that. We are taking what was fabulous and then making some slight minor adjustments to better meet where our students are now, fast forward 6 years later. So this conversation really has been a long time coming. We've been talking about this for at least the past year and a half, seriously as a staff. This conversation started about in the fall, and we were looking at how we can take how we serve our students. We obviously are looking at data analysis often throughout our school year as an amazing site council team, a leadership team, and through our whole staff discussions and our PLC process. And we wanted to see how we can take what we already do and really make make the best use of the bell schedule, the time that we have with our kiddos during the school day. So we're looking at our fair and accurate grading practices and how we best meet the needs of our students with our fair and accurate testing approaches, how we will accommodate students, how we will best support them with either test retake opportunities or redos on their assessments, how the teachers can best meet the kiddos where they are in their classes. Currently, many of our amazing teachers at Redwood will give up their lunch times, before school, after school, to do what they feel is right by our students. And we love and value and appreciate the heart of all of our teachers, but we thought maybe there was an opportunity within our bell schedule during our day to also serve that intervention and enrichment for our Vikings. Currently, we do have a twice-a-week advisory class period where we do our social emotional learning, we have executive functioning, we have other connection activities, and that happens every Wednesday and Thursday. Every teacher does have an advisory class that meets every Wednesday morning and then again on every Thursday morning. The issue that we are running into with our current advisory schedule is those teachers don't necessarily have those students in their actual classes during the school day. So we thought that there might be an opportunity to make an adjustment to our schedule so that the teachers can have a better connection with that group of students. Or was there possibly an opportunity for them to provide specific intervention to their actual students as a part of their class period? So that's really how this started to kind of come to life as a leadership group, and then of course with our staff. Looking, of course, at our current bell schedule, you can see that we have 3 different bell schedules. You never know what time the bell is going to ring. We love it. Mondays and Fridays, there's one bell schedule. Tuesdays is another bell schedule. That is our CPT, our common planning time, currently set as a late start day. So that means that the kiddos sleep in and the teachers have their common planning time in the morning. And then the third bell schedule is our advisory days, which are the Wednesdays and Thursdays. So that's what our current model is right now in practice. Starting last fall, our amazing CAPS team, the CAPS program, of course, was something that our district was participating in, and we are still continuing to develop and learn from what we have participated in with CAPS. We had multiple CAPS teams at Redwood that went through the experience at the Simi Valley Unified School District in partnership, of course, with our other middle schools. And that CAPS team brought all kinds of wonderful ideas. Every time they would come back from a training, they would share at a staff meeting all these new and exciting ways that we wanted to meet our students' needs, whether it was looking at an embedded support model, what different adjustments could we do to the bell schedule, what new fair and accurate grading practices did our CAPS team learn about. They were so excited to share, and it was wonderful to see their excitement. So we capitalized on that, and we figured we have this great energy from our CAPS team last fall, and they started dialoguing about a new intervention model. And we started talking about core and crew, which of course is what Kalina and Sequoia do. We started talking about how can we better intervene and how can we give teachers more control over that intervention? And do we want to do that as a standalone embedded support time? Do we want to start to look at changes to our advisory but keep advisory? There was all kinds of excitement and energy about this last fall. But then time started getting away with us because we started this conversation for the very first time in a serious tone in October. And we started with meetings, but then of course there's a lot that needs to happen with different votes in partnership with, of course, our UACT reps. So we decided to slow our roll a little bit and really hone in on making some adjustments to advisory, at least for this current school year, the 25-26 year, knowing that we as a staff were planning on picking back up earlier with the bell schedule conversation in September. And that's exactly what we did. So the fall of 2025, we had some adjustments that we made to advisory. We have specific or links and different things that our teachers get a chance to do in advisory this year. And while they're doing that, we also started the dialogue with our teachers about wanting to look at how we want to possibly change our bell schedule. We were looking at aligning, of course, our intervention supports with maybe what our feeder schools do. We were looking at, are all of the schools early outs? Are they all late starts? What do they want to do? We looked at what our feeder elementary schools do, what days there any consistency with our elementary schools in who is early releasing. Are they early releasing on a Wednesday? Is everyone on a Thursday or a Friday? What we found is that it's kind of all over the place. Different schools are doing different things, which is totally fine and great. We were able to, through our school site council, I have the most amazing set of school site council parents. I call them my little brain trust. They have such honest dialogues. They bring things to the table that they want to learn more about. We have a very great two-way communication with those parents. And I really leaned on them early on in this process. So they were with us every step along the way of knowing where we were as a staff, what options we were looking at. I threw out the block as a bell schedule option for our teachers, just what different things did we want and what was important for the parents as the teachers were slowly starting to talk about this throughout the fall. You can see our timeline here. We started early, hit the ground running in September. This was with our school site council. It actually started even a little bit earlier than this in August when our leadership team meets prior to the start of school. We were already right from the get-go of this school year making sure that everybody was on board to at least have this dialogue, knowing that there was no guarantee that we were going to approve a potential pilot new bell schedule for the 26-27 school year, but we at least wanted to look at all the options and give it its due diligence for this year. So we started in September. We started talking about it in leadership meetings. We started creating a bell schedule committee as the high school former me knows it as, but we are a small school here. So instead of really having a selected cherry-picked group of people, we were more of a come one, come all. Whoever wants to talk about the bell schedule, let's go, let's talk about it. And we ended up having a lot of teachers on some days for our bell schedule meetings, and then a smaller handful on other days. But we were always having those dialogues through our staff meetings, through our leadership meetings, of course through site council. I relied a lot on my amazing UAC reps to help with the straw votes and to help really get a nice sense of where the consensus was with the staff. We started with about 6 different bell schedule options as we were moving through the process, and we narrowed it down, as you can see, moving into November and December to a final one bell schedule that went against our current schedule. And what we settled on for that final bell schedule, you can see on the next slide. Maybe not, we'll get there in a second. We looked at a couple other specific things in terms of what kind of bell schedule we were really looking for. We wanted to talk about how we were providing that intentional intervention and enrichment. Now, we currently, of course, remember, have it through our advisory that's twice a week. But we thought maybe there was an opportunity to be more intentional by giving the teachers more of that leadership control role to provide that intervention that they felt was appropriate and specific for their class. Remember, right now, the advisory classes are not necessarily students that our teachers have during their normal academic day. And so the teachers really wanted an opportunity to be able to provide that specific intervention for their kids. My science teacher knows what her 7th grade science kids need. And that's different than what my 8th grade honors edge teacher knows what his kids need. So each teacher knows their kids best, and I trust them with everything to be able to do what is best to meet the needs of those students. We also really wanted to take into consideration our A period. On our current bell schedule, our A period doesn't meet on our late start Tuesdays. So Tuesdays is our CPT day, and the A period does not happen on that day at all. So if you are, let's say, an Algebra 1 honors teacher, you don't see those Algebra 1 honors A period kids at all for that one day a week. And we really thought that there was an opportunity to develop consistency every single day where A period minutes every week will match the minutes for period 1 through 6. We thought that was really important for our A period teachers to have that consistency. So if I'm an A period Algebra 1 honors teacher and then I have another section of it, period 4, I have that pacing that's going to be consistent for both of those classes. Good for kids, good for staff, good for instruction. Also looking at the impact to the instructional time, we of course wanted to make sure that any new schedule we were looking at was maintaining the instructional time that we of course have now. We really wanted to lean on what our families wanted, and I used my dialogue with the site council team for this one a lot in terms of, do you prefer the late start, which is what we currently have, or what does an early release look like? Many of our schools are now moving towards an early release, and one thing with our community was we were noticing with the late start is families have to get to work, and it was important for them to be able to drop their kids off and have them starting school instead of just kind of hanging out. And so we wanted to be able to maximize getting the kids on campus early when they're fresh, they're alert, they're ready to go, and then getting them off campus, and then the staff will take care of their business for the CPT, the PLC time in that afternoon period. And site council was elated when we were throwing out that option. And same with the PTSA. One mom, when she heard that we were doing early release, actually said, "Yay!" And it was very, very, she couldn't contain her excitement. So it's not going to be perfect, of course, but that was something that did come up as there was a little bit of interest to look at the early release instead of late start. We reviewed, of course, different models that were done in our district. We looked at all of our different middle schools. We weren't really needing to recreate the wheel, so to speak. We have lots of amazing bell schedules here in our district, and we have lots of amazing relationships with our partner middle schools. So our staff really leaned heavily on what is already out there in our district. And we know that there's the embedded support models at Kalina and Sequoia. And what really intrigued our staff in particular was the flex day that Mr. Klinger and the Los Cerritos team about 3 years ago started to work on, and now Ms. LaRue has carried on for him. And that flex day really started to resonate with our particular community, with the opportunity to give students that one day where we kind of do everything. It's one day where, and if you click to the next slide now, you'll see it. The flex day model is 1 day a week, where ideally there is no new instruction. We're calling it our RISE Day, and it's Redwood Intervention, Support, and Enrichment. So during this day, each teacher across all class periods provides what they know their kids need. So it's specific, it's targeted, and it's teacher-driven. And it's whatever their particular class needs. And there are opportunities, of course, for cross-curricular. I'm thinking about EDGE and the possibilities that exist for our EDGE social science and our EDGE English teachers who collaborate already very, very well, and the potential for them to be able to continue to work together. A lot of our teachers are excited to use Fridays for every Friday's a grade check day. Let's see those backpacks, those black hole of a backpacks. Everyone, let's get organized. Let's do some good executive functioning. Let's get things organized. Let's make sure you have things that are not in red or missing on cue. If everything looks perfect, maybe there's an enrichment opportunity for a small group of students. Let's collaborate together and help each other. Or if we need to do our test corrections, our retakes, are those other opportunities for those fair and accurate grading practices that are at the discretion of each teacher. Every class is different, but all of that will ideally happen on that one RISE day. One nice thing about this as well is, of course, now we're giving that consistency through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Same bell schedule, all 4 days. And then every Friday is the different bell schedule with the Friday Rise. The Friday Rise also means that it's an early release day. So you'll see Friday, the students are off campus at 1:40. And then after that is when you see that common planning time for the staff. We settled on Fridays for this pilot year for the bell schedule next year because this was aligning with Aspen Elementary, which is, of course, one of our feeder elementary schools. Thousand Oaks High School, on the flip side for our kiddos, also does this, but they do a late start currently on their Thursday and Friday. So we felt that there was some opportunity for alignment with at least one of our feeder elementary schools with Fridays for our RISE bell schedule day. Moving forward, where we are now, As a staff, as recently as yesterday, we were talking in leadership about what do we need to accomplish between now and June, because I need all of them to leave for summer and not have to worry about what August looks like. We don't want to come back in August and all of a sudden frantically be trying to figure out RISE and figure out how we're going to schedule everything out. Our plan is we are going to be ready to go in June. When they leave, I need them to feel good about we're going to come back and we're going to hit the ground running in August, and we're going to make this fabulous. So what we're working on, you can see a little screen grab of it now, is a planning framework for the RISE Fridays for all of our staff, just so that it's a toolkit for our teachers who perhaps need a little extra support or some structure for what RISE looks like. RISE is designed to be a non-new instruction day, but it's also an opportunity for teachers to make sure that they're truly meeting their kids where they are, whether that's, again, the enrichment opportunities, interventions, pulling small groups, reteaching if there's something that they notice that the whole class is not doing very well on, maybe through a recent assessment or through their PLC. They're seeing a theme with some students needing to get a little reteaching. Let's go through and let's look at that again. There's also an opportunity for Fridays to, that RISE day, to also do your social emotional learning, to make those connections, to have those team building activities with the students to get them to connect with one another on that social emotional level. So we're going to work on really making sure that Friday is a meaningful day for all of our students, and then drafting that staff calendar that we operate internally as a team on for next year, so that we want to make the best use of that CPT time when the students are off campus. And then, of course, continuing to communicate with our amazing parents and our stakeholders on a weekly basis regarding the schedule, taking any questions if they have them as they come in, and just making sure that we're all on the same page as we move forward. And that is where we're going in Vikingville. Questions?
First of all, thank you, Principal Keener, for coming. That was a great presentation. I love everything about what you've come up with, the process you use, which was incredibly thoughtful, the fact that it is completely student-centered and taken from that point of view. This is a discussion item. It'll come back, I guess, for a board vote probably at the next meeting. Any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Goldberg.
I just want to echo the gratitude and also the focus on student-centered, coupled with you had me at specific, targeted, and teacher-driven. So, because our teachers know our students best in those classroom environments. So thank you for that. Thanks.
Trustee Gorbach.
Thanks for the great presentation. Oh, sorry. Do you want to go, Trustee Gorbach?
That's all right. You go ahead.
Oh, she called him. You go.
I just see what pops on my screen first. I don't even look. So yes, Trustee Gorbach, and then Trustee Pell.
I want to echo what everyone has said. Thank you for the in-depth presentation. I also want to re-emphasize what you've emphasized, getting the whole community behind the changes. I think, involving the parents, obviously involving the teachers, just makes it so much more palatable when everyone has input. So thank you for that process.
Trustee Powell.
I was just going to echo what everybody else said. Thank you for the great presentation. It's always really great for us to hear when you think, oh, schedule change, okay, whatever. And then when you really realize all that goes into it and all of the elements that you have to think through so carefully. And just the visual of looking at your old schedule and then the new one, even for me, I'm like, like it just seems so logical, and I hope your teachers are feeling that way too, just to have it all be consistent. And then to be able to have all of that intervention and additional kind of work all on that one day just seems to make so much sense. So I wish you all the best success with this.
Thanks. Perfect.
Just to remind the board, this is part of our collective bargaining agreement on the outline of how a school goes through the adoption of a bell schedule. And Ms. Keener did note that it's a pilot year. So as noted in the collective bargaining agreement, that this will come back for a vote once the board approves it at some point next year to see if it would continue or not. So based on what it looks like, I hope it does. But as I said, this is part of our collective bargaining agreement.
Trustee Kearns.
Yes, thank you for that awesome presentation. Very informative, and I loved the graphics. I could definitely tell you put some thought into like making the presentation, so I appreciate that as well. Yeah, a couple of years ago, I was a Viking in 8th grade, and well, it was the land of Miss Judd, actually. But I remember we had an advisory period, and I mean, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Obviously, I think it worked well to a degree. It served its purpose. But I always like remember people spoke about, especially teachers would like say to the class, be like, I feel like we should just do this like in our classes every day, as opposed to like having some sort of 30-minute period that more often than not turned into free time. And then when I got into high school, one of my first classes was AP Human Geography with Mr. Dano, and he said the same thing. He was like, you know, I just do SEL. I live SEL. I breathe SEL. And it was just throughout his whole class, he was explaining to us, you know, this is how you do homework. This is how you should organize things. Like, this is how you're successful in high school. And so what I'm getting at here is I really like the idea of the Rise Day. I think that is like one of the best ways I've seen of going about SEL and like that advisory period and being advised, as opposed to just like traditional academics. So I certainly, I mean, I'll be gone, but hopefully it'll work out well. I'll see if I can maybe check in, but I think it should be great. So thank you.
Awesome, thanks.
Any other questions or comments? I also have to say I love the way you embedded mastery grading or grading for mastery in it as well, since that is something that is a priority for the board and the district. So this checks a lot of boxes, and I'm curious to see how the pilot year goes, and maybe you can come back and give us a mini report. Trustee Goldberg.
Hopefully that 90% holds, so.
It will. We have a great staff, so I have no concerns.
All right, well, thank you very much. All right, we are now moving on to item 5B, where we're going to discuss a deletion of Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 0520.2, which is Title I Program Improvement Schools. Mr. Liu.
Yes, just as we add and adjust board policies and administrative regulations based off updates to law and recommendations from the California School Boards Association, we also at times, although it may feel rare, we also provide recommendations to the board to delete outdated policies. And so board policy and administrative regulation 0520.2 were originally adopted in September of 2009. And at that time, program improvement, or PI, was a thing under No Child Left Behind. With the repeal of No Child Left Behind, though, in 2015, PI and program improvement has been long discontinued. We have now shifted into things that I'm more familiar with, like the California dashboard. So given that the current requirements set forth by the federal government are no longer applicable, we're bringing forward the proposed deletions. The current Title I accountability requirements are now actually addressed currently in our board policy and AR 0460, which is the LCAP, as well as our uniform complaint procedures.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, thank you, Mr. Liu. Moving on, we are now on item 5C, board committee reports. Do I have any board members who want to share a committee report? Trustee Gorbach.
I just want to say that we had a Zoom meeting for the dual language immersion program. And every time we meet and discuss, I get so excited about what we're doing. We had the first, I don't know what you call it, cadre of 4th grade. And by the way, Dr. Arias, add anything that I miss as far as the meeting. But we had our first cadre of 4th graders, and they're doing well, and the whole program is drawing people. We have an increased amount of people. And most importantly, we are now working closely with Galena as a follow-up for when our kids finish up and go on to middle school. So I'm excited about the whole program, and I want to stay on the committee.
You just started, Trustee Gorbach, so you're not going anywhere. Other committee reports. Trustee Powell.
We did just have another technology committee meeting today, and we are ramping it up. We're adding some more meetings because there's a lot of work to be done. But the focus of today was, one, we got to learn about the Lightspeed, which is a filtering program on that is used as well as at some point to have some controls at home, which was really, I think, everybody seemed very enthusiastic and excited about that potential. And then Dr. Suter kind of walked us through the process of how instructional technology gets approved and piloted and all that good stuff, mirroring what happens with our approval of curriculum. And so I think that was really helpful. And then we had some other discussions sort of at the end, but we'll look forward to the next meeting. Thank you.
Trustee Goldberg.
Just to note, we had a finance committee meeting, and we saw the presentation and most of the discussion, but I want to thank Dr. Hayek and Jamie Ledesma, because the amount of work that goes into the Fiscal Services Department every day, and she walked us through how things get put on and put off, and it's mind-blowing the amount of work and details that go into the budget process. So just wanted to say thank you. Yeah.
I will second the mind-blowing part of the budget process. Let me just wrap up with a report on the School Choice Committee, because we did meet a week or so ago. So quickly, this year we received a little over 1,200 on-time intra-district school choice requests, down a little bit from last year. And we also received a couple of hundred inter-district requests, which I always like to hear about, also within the priority window. So some of the changes that we've made over the past year have been successful. We now require any student that's new to the district, including our TK and Kers, to create and process and submit a pre-enrollment form. And that really helps us get a handle on how many students we have out there. There was also, this is the second year, that each student was given a code so that families could actually get online and check the status of the wait list, which really helped reduce the number of phone calls into the district. So I think that's a big win. We did learn that we cannot use Q to help with this, managing this process. However, we are looking at some systems, new systems to replace Q, and there is the possibility that might help us within the school choice. And Dr. Suter is nodding her head, so, because it's a highly complex process. I do want to make one note about this, because we look at spreadsheets of people choicing in and out of various schools, and the data just varies a bit. But it seems to me that most of the families requesting out of any of our schools are doing so in TK and K. It's not like they get to third grade and go, oh my God, this school really isn't great and I want out. I think what's happening is reputation, word of mouth, all of that is influencing families. And I think it's not about what's happening at our school sites. So I always suggest, because parents will always ask me, what's the best school? And I always really recommend that they tour each school. Our schools are fairly different from each other, and they should always start with their neighborhood schools for a lot of reasons. And I think that it's best to get your own firsthand impression of a school site. That was my PSA there. First round notifications, I believe, will be sent out the week of March 13th, and I believe some high school notifications have already been sent out. So that is it for my committee report. And are there any other committee reports? Okay. So we are now moving on to 5C, reports from board members. Trustee Kearns.
Good evening, everyone. I'll keep this short. We had a SDAC meeting in this room on February 23rd. We discussed math textbook adoption and what's going on with that. And we heard from the incredible Dr. Suter and Ms. Bartlett, very energetic duo that kept everyone entertained and surprised us with a great agenda item despite it being having math in the title. But it's actually quite interesting. So I look forward to seeing more from that process. And I can officially say that student voice has been incorporated in the math textbook adoption process. So thank you, Dr. Suter. We also are in the process, Ms. Judd and I, as well as the school site principals, of reviewing new SDAC applicants. It's that kind of that time of year. Oh my goodness. Kind of bittersweet for me because it means my term is almost ending and I'm a senior, so this is my last SDAC application process, but really amazing for all of the incredible applicants who are about to find a great new voice on the student DAC and really take advantage of one of the best things that this district has to offer, I would say. So we're doing interviews soon, and then hopefully we will have some good news for some people who applied. I know we got quite a bit of applicants this year, I think, so hopefully we'll have a good pool. Seniors, keep pushing. We're getting all of our college application decisions this month, so should be a lot of ups, a lot of downs, so we'll see. So good luck, everyone, on that. Congratulations to my AP seminar class that I mentor for doing their presentations, their first official College Board presentations in this very room. That's why I'm bringing it up right now. Second time here this week. They all did such an incredible job. I remember last year, something I shared with them at the end, I feel like my year, we were not that good. Like, they literally, like, every single person, I was, like, looking for things to criticize to tell them about, like, the next week to improve. And I couldn't, like, find anything for, like, 99% of people. I was shocked. I was like, they're such good public speakers. They were so well, like, didn't seem like they were too well rehearsed, which is the goal, but it seemed like they had definitely, like, put a lot of thought into, like, the content of their presentation, and they all knew what they were talking about. So I think it's a testament to Mr. Hart and Ms. Bodwin. They're incredible teachers, and the center. Center is only going up from here. So, center supremacy. Anyway, what else? Personal thing, I will be in San Francisco this weekend and not reachable. So sorry to anyone who perhaps wanted to reach out to me this weekend, but you may monitor my Instagram story. That's all for this evening, everyone. Good night.
I will make a note of your schedule, Trustee Kearns. Trustee Powell.
Oh dear. Okay. Hi, everybody. Happy to be here. Congratulations to all the student musicians we celebrated tonight. Just a couple things I've enjoyed in the district the last couple of weeks. I went to the mock trial competition for a little bit in Ventura, at the Ventura County Courts, because I had to see Trustee Kearns in action. I did not get to see his closing, unfortunately, but I did get to see him questioning witnesses along with his team, and that was my first time at any mock trial competition, so it was really, really fun for me to get to experience that and see our kids. And congratulations to Trustee Kearns on your, I believe, third place win as defense attorney. So, great job. Yes, well deserved. I attended STEAM night at Conejo Academy. They had their 4th grade Maker's Mark, got a couple new bracelets. They had this awesome big telescope out that everybody got to go look up at. Jupiter was out, and everybody got to see that. And lots of great activities related to art and science, robotics. We had a lot of high school students coming and helping out. It was just a really great event, and everybody looked like they were having fun. The Black History Month celebration, of course, was great, and I want to say thank you to Mr. Liu and Ms. Bowman and everybody else who helped make that a success. It was really a lot of fun. And then finally, if you're not watching the dance challenge on social media between schools, you are really missing out. So get yourself on Instagram and check it out. It was started by Ms. Dove, principal of Ladera Stars Academy. She challenged Ms. Vargas over at Weathersfield, who then challenged Dr. Carter at Acacia, who then challenged Dr. Craven at Aspen, who challenged Mr. Lynch at Wildwood. And I believe Mr. Hadeen in Sycamore Canyon is up next. So go take a look, and it is so much fun watching these principals out there dancing with their students. So if you need a little bit of joy in your day, go check it out. And that's it from me. Thanks.
Trustee Goldberg.
Well, Trustee Pell and I seems to go to a lot of the same places and enjoy a lot of the same things. So I'm just going to say, definitely check out the Instagram. I will say many of our schools, their social media games have been upped this year. Westlake High School, like, it's great and really creative, and you can see not just our kiddos having joyful learning experiences, but our staff as well. So I think it's a win-win for everybody, and it showcases all the fun that happens every day in our schools. So that's it for me.
Trustee Gorback.
Excuse me. Good evening. Welcome to Women's History Month and Disability Awareness Month. Both important to learn about. And again, as I always say for these resolutions and these months, this is not just a month project, it's a kickoff to a whole year of study or the remainder of the year. Thank you to Senora Duarte for her report from DLAC this evening. Congratulations. It's magnificent how many people represent our district to state and Southern California. And so congratulations to all our musical accomplishments and the students that must spend hours preparing for them. Black History Month ended with a exciting culmination. The ADAC party that we had was just a blast, and I really have to congratulate Westlake's Jazz Band for the presentation of jazz music as part of the foundation of basically all of our music. And the educational tables and, the educational tables and activities that were there so that students could learn Black history in our country while having a lot of fun. And there was a lot of fun. Then I got taught lessons by 10, 11-year-olds, 9-year-olds at Ladera. Their Living History Museum was absolutely magnificent. I was so impressed with the quality of our kids. And now I hear that they were the ones that practically started the dance competition. So they're not only their academic quality, but their dancing quality. I started out last night going to I thought I was going to a middle school science fair. It ended up being the quality of a high school fair. I must have made a wrong turn somewhere at Los Cerritos. The projects that I saw were of high quality, abstract, words that I don't remember using in middle school, abstract, hypothesis, and the projects and the studies that they did not only were excellent science projects, but related to themselves. It was like how many pull-ups we could do on a different strength bands. And so, that student was working on his own to do that. So I want to do that. Finally, this morning was one of my most fun activities as a board member, and that was going to Westlake High School and celebrating with them receiving their National Unified Sports banner reception and seeing the kids play basketball and getting cheered and running between the cheerleaders, and just the ones that usually are up in the bleacher seats were now down on the floor, and those that were in the bleacher seats were those that were usually on the floor. And the switch, you could tell these kids were just so excited by what they did, and it will be memories that will last them forever. So it was a great month, and I thank you for being here and look forward to the next meeting.
Trustee Gill.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I think of all the things that happened since we last met, I'm going to highlight an event that I know none of you are at, which was Ladera's Ruby Bridges Walk to School, which happened a week ago, Wednesday morning. I don't know how many students and families participated, but we extended way down the street. It was really terrific. I was particularly taken by this TKer who was walking beside me. And for most of the walk, I was assuming that the two parents next to her belonged to her. Turned out they did not. But she was entirely safe. And her parent was waiting a safe distance down the street. and was waiting when we got to the place where we turned the corner, and cheered her on, knowing that she was experiencing this independence in an entirely safe group of families, and it was something to witness. So with that, happy Women's History Month and Disability History Month, and thank you and good night.
So I will concur with my fellow trustees who had the opportunity to attend the Black History Month celebration. It was really a fabulous inaugural event involving the BSUs, involving parents, involving students, lots of hands-on experiences. The jazz band was fantastic. The Ladera Stars Living History Museum was also incredibly well done, and so much work put into it, not only by the students, but by their teachers. So that was amazing. And then finally, I would like to thank Carrie Howard over at Maple Elementary for inviting me to see the work that there's being done there by her at their STEAM lab. I sat in on a 3rd grade class. I didn't sit on the carpet. She pulled out a little chair for me, but probably could have. And I learned a lot about rocks and crystals. And it was a really great creative example of hands-on learning. And I learned how much students love magnifying glasses. So again, to kind of dovetail with what I said earlier, it was a great reminder of the many, many interesting activities and programs at our elementary school. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. McLaughlin.
Yeah, just as noted in Dr. Hayek's presentation today, that salary negotiations have finished and concluded with all 3 of our bargaining groups. So I do want to say thank you to the district's bargaining team, along with Josh and his bargaining team, CVPPA and CSEA's teams to get to the table and work on some salary increases for our folks. It's well deserved. And I know that sharpening up the pencil was needed to get to the salary increase. So I appreciate all those who sat at the table and had those discussions. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, we are now at section 6, which is adjournment. And 6A is future board topics. So we have a list going. Are there any board members who would like to add any topics to this list? Okay, at this time, the existing list stands. And we are now moving on and seeing no other agenda items. The meeting is adjourned at 7:43. Good night.
Trustee Kern, as a former